Hello everyone, I'm Nuno the second and today I'm here to talk about a little bit of my verdicts about the first round of Ultimate League Season 13, the race that happened last Sunday, and yeah, basically going to talk about a bit about the performances, about the drivers and the teams, and what we can maybe expect more, and what does that tell us from what we can expect from the rest of the season, what did this first round told us basically, and some of the conclusions that we can take. So yeah, let's start then with the team that is currently in last in the standings. That's Flow Force, and yeah, not really a big surprise. I did thought that they will be the team in last place. Two drivers that Kletsu has mostly been at the back, and Matimar, who has been he's pretty much a very new driver still, and but yeah, I think Lex did have an amazing race at the start. I think might certainly be very like moralizing with P11. Could have certainly been maybe a top 10 as well, but still he got his best ever result in UL on a race where that could certainly happen. A lot of chaos, people being certainly close in pace, and a lot of opportunities to sort of just slipstream. So yeah, let's see. He did have good results, and maybe he can get more of these moments. I don't think he's going to be fighting for top 10s every single race suddenly, but he might certainly do it once in a while when the conditions are in his favor, let's say. But yeah, I think it's a good start there from Flow Force, and looking forward to see more of it. Then Matty Mars seems to have got a very tough debut as a main driver in UL. Certainly, I think he does need to work on his aggressiveness. He's always like very aggressive and gets pushed off very easily, and things never work out that well because of that. Especially when this track was something like extra chaos with two big hairpins very close to each other. And so, yeah, in the end, about Full Force, even in Classic finishing P11, this just shows how hard it's going to be, or how tough it's going to be for Full Force to fight for at least P8 in the constructors. Because yeah, let's see, have his best results is still not enough for them to not be last at the moment. And I think it's going to be because it's very likely that they might have one driver at the back, but still it's going to be interesting to see. I think Mati Marder will certainly have this big opportunity to learn a lot this season, and I think he will eventually, and he might be challenging more for the midfield, maybe I think. And so yeah, that's what I can say about Full Force. Then RMC, a little bit of a slow start here. Journey seemed to have struggled a lot on this track, a lot of crashes. I saw that one that he had with Solo and Anti, and maybe he just didn't manage to recover from that one. Starting quite far at the back here with Matimar and Jurist and Susi, like those bottom fours quite far away from P14. So yeah, not really an easy start for Gironi, but I think he can improve on. And then Calo did have a good start to this race, and so he managed to sort of just stick himself in there. I did saw him in the practice races on the mark sometimes, and I think that certainly must have helped him that extra little practice. I think if he does more of it, he can certainly be more up there in the top 10. Now let's see if Gironi can also put himself up there as well, because it's going to be needed, because the other teams will be certainly very tough to beat. Because then we got the next team in P7 currently, that's SCP. They got Suicide in last. I think he did what he could have done. This grid is just tough, really tough. I'm not sure if Suicide practices that much either way, and I think he just did what he could have done. It wasn't that bad. It's not like he was, on a race like this, he could have been like 10 seconds behind or something, but no, he didn't manage to stick himself up there and fight for higher positions, but in the end, it was still a last place. But yeah, I think he did what he could have done. And then it's going to be still a big question, how will Sexy Digger do? He does seem to be, from the off season, with him trying to hunt for those world records at the beginning, it seemed he was quite motivated. And I think he did have a solid lap, I believe, in Arschleben, I think. So yeah, he does seem to be very motivated, and I'm very looking forward to see exactly what he's going to do. But I think if there's something that he showed the fact that he wasn't present is that yeah, there might be some days where he's going to be missing. I think some of the races, and let's see if he can at least be back to where he was like back in season 10. That will be a crucial thing. But yeah, something that I think in season 11 it struggled a lot. Maybe you might see a little bit of the same, but we will see. Still too early to tell. Then Kubo did have an amazing race. Started pretty badly, but then with the gamble of staying out on Inters even when that light rain ended, then it came back, and I think that was really like a huge turnaround of events. And I do like his mentality that since he was at the back, he had nothing to lose, and he just managed to get out of there because of that. He went for a big gamble, could have not worked out. Of course, he would. If he had to pit, it would be usually undercut. It would be probably in the same situation as Corvid, for example, and things could have not worked out. But he had that nothing to lose mentality and sort of managed to get out of that situation to then be up to second place and fight for that win. Things in the end just didn't win that well. I think some of the pace in the end, like I don't think he really had the pace he's likely to win. For example, on the final stint when he had to car up to Hernandi, he just didn't have like he took a lot of time to do it. If he managed to catch up to Hernandi at the end, and if Hernandi wasn't someone hard to catch for him, things could have been different. And I think Kubo could have maybe potentially got his first win or at least a podium. As then, yeah, but still a good start. And he does seems to be once again very strong, and it's going to be a crucial key for the SCP this season. And so that's what I can say about SCP. And then we got BAR, quite solid start, I would say. Big shame that Tunisians couldn't race because I think right now they could be certainly challenging for the top 10. I mean, the top 3, I mean, in the constructors' standings. Because, yeah, still this word I think he was really, really liking. I think that may have caused some of the issues as I believe he actually pushed Charge JT at some points. Which, it's not really ideal thing, but yeah, either way, not really a bad race in the end. I think mostly what we saw mostly from I saw these words, so P14. But yeah, we will see. Hopefully, Lucius can come back as he's the main driver. And I think the team can certainly do much better next time. Charge T did have a solid race there. I think P7 not really that bad, and he certainly is going to be a big challenger for the top 10 at least. And so yeah, then next team is going to be Lynx Racing. We used to have quite an amazing qualifying before, but then they ended in P17. And after watching the POV, I must say I'm not really surprised. Like at the beginning, he instantly lost the slipstream to Kraft when he was alone. Like he wasn't totally alone, but there was no one like going side by side. So literally, it was by just driving a little bit slower, he just instantly lost the slipstream. It was like after the second hairpin, like it was a little bit weird, and him losing the slipstream, you can already tell. Okay, he does not have the pace, and then everyone who's like behind him, right behind him, is always gonna be like treat him like he has the hard tires the entire time, like or older tires, like it's because he just looks too slow, and some people will just want to pass him a little bit more aggressive. And I think there were some moments where he could have been more cooperative. There was one moment where he was battling with Grandy and Rosim, and he goes for the battle, really like very close to the other drivers, and sort of pushes, makes like Grandy gets pushed wide, and then like, and in the end, like he was battling people, end up P8 and P10, and he finished P17. So I think slipstreaming would have been like much better on that situation. Also, there was another situation where he lost slipstream to Razim. I think he got pushed a little bit, but he could have still kept it. But then he makes a mistake on the final corner, and I think it's those little things that can make a huge difference sometimes. I think just him losing the slipstream to Kraft at the start, like that already like can change everything. The way people battle around you, and the way like you just couldn't stick to the front. So eventually you just fall down to P17. So yeah, with no practice, I mean, there's not much you can expect, to be honest. So I think P17 it is. He does need to put on the practice because he added practice for the race and started P7, P4 again. Like you could have beat up for a top 10 at least. So yeah. Then Kraft. Yeah, Kraft did have a very impressive start. Could have like a very very good race. I think good tactics as well. But yeah, then it was only and he lost because of something out of his control. I would say like Google pushing him wide. I think was not okay. And I think there could have been a penalty there. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. And the way he just couldn't uh, pass the way the like Kubo just screwed his own race, I think, yeah, really big shame there. But still a good indication of what Kraft can do this season, and he might certainly do even better than what he did last season. So he might certainly be on the rise and still being a crucial key for Lynx Racing. And so yeah, then next one. So I think Lynx Racing, not a bad start. This as a team overall, P5. But yeah, we will see Kraft Falls in the top five. That's one big question that we need to make. And so yeah, Reese does need to climb up himself. Otherwise, his team will struggle this season once again. As Mayhem Racing, finally you got Danny Mate and Razim together once again. But yeah, Danny Mate, I feel like he's certainly a little bit rusty for not being racing seriously since the second half of season 11, where he just like you could see it started to fall off really hard, and eventually lost second place in the standings to Buda that season. And then with him not being the main driver in season 11, he was. I mean, in season 12, he just sort of wasn't at his best. Although in Istanbul he did pretty decently, but then he lost second place in the race because of staying so long on the Inter. Sometimes it takes these sort of gambles. That's the where he goes very very long with the same tires, and it sort of never works out. Because in this race he went very long on the hards in the end, and that would never gonna work on a track like this, where the softs look really superior, and the pit stops were smaller, and so people would easily car up to him, and then he would have no tires to do something. The only thing he could do would be slipstreaming. I think one thing he should have done would be either pit for softs, or if he started from the hards, he should have pitted when Mario Frias pitted, for example, because he was behind Mario Frias, and Mario would have been someone great to slipstream, and that could have changed everything. Could have been a fight for the podium, but yeah, in the end he just got completely screwed up. Still kind of a miracle to be able to be P5 with those tires, and so yeah, still I think then he can start to get to win this season, and not exactly the title, but can certainly, I think, fight if he wants, or if he can practice more to be much further ahead in the podiums and fight for some wins this season still. Then Razim, yeah, it kind of shows that maybe that Paradiso race wasn't essentially a fluke, but certainly too much of a good race, and not really sure if he's going to exactly carry on to that Paradiso race, because I think on that race he practiced a lot. From what I heard, like he was practicing on the previous week, and so he had a huge advantage there, and I think it was a great win for him. But this season seems like he's not won't exactly be a front runner, but certainly more at midfield. But I think he can certainly be up there for the top fives. Maybe this season he's just not have the time to practice, and so he might be a little bit more of the same as he has been in the last few seasons. And so yeah, but people will see more if what can Rosin do. Then next team is going to be FGR. They got Corvid, which got screwed up by the rain, I'm pretty sure, and still good recovery. I guess to P13 with that huge ping would always be hard for him to pass people, and it's sort of I guess he did what he could. He didn't seem to be taking the practice for this race that seriously, so he just wasn't there like the pace either way. So yeah, I guess in the end he just wouldn't never be a good race for him, especially on a lot of chaos where he's much further behind, and yeah, then my freeze. I think I would say I think Mary Freeze is certainly currently the best driver on the grid for sure. The way she came from P16 up to third place, I think that is crazy. Like she had a really bad start, a big crash there with Anti. Yeah, I think it was with. Wait, I think it may have been with Anti and Girardi. I think yeah. And so she fell a lot. Then she got screwed up by the rain. She was like down to P16 and she managed to recover to third place. I think does it not only show her capacity with pace, but also the way she can gain positions, position herself pretty well, and know how to overtake and use like have some good timing on that. And I think she did is made a very executed recovery, which then managed to make her finishing third place. I think nice recovery. I think any other driver in her situation would not be able to do the same thing. So this shows how strong Mind Freeze is, and if she has a good start, she can certainly win, and she's certainly gonna win probably more than one race this season. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, or now I think big question will be if she's gonna do every race this season. If she does, I think she can go and is certainly gonna win the title. It's gonna be really hard for someone to challenge her. Because once again, if everyone else was in the same situation as Marion when she was in P16, no one would be able to do the same thing that she did. So yeah, then let's say with Hernani and Sobel, looking at Sobel's results, not surprised at all. I mean, he got the title last season, and it did seem that as soon as he would get the title, he not care that much about things at all. And that certainly was it shows like he only practiced right very close to the race, and yeah, Sober just couldn't do much, and I don't think he cares that much for this season. He already got the title, he already got what he wanted, so he's just a little bit relaxing, especially when it's the summer season. So yeah. Then Hernandi, I think Hernandi had a very good start, but very big shame that he couldn't get the win in the end. I think he deserved it. Was leading for most of the time. I think things were going very well, but then it's the end. I think he could have gone for a simple 11 plus 11 stint on the softs. He just didn't need to invent anything, but he went for hards with 13 laps to go. I think that ruined everything. I think it was just really like bad decision there from Hernandez, I must say. Like, it could have been a different thing. It could have been, a much better race. Could have won, like, at the end. And but yeah, I think feel like it was a huge battle there. Because then he got caught up by Kubo, which then they started battle, and eventually guys like Graf and Hunty, they just managed to caught up to them, and Hernandez lost it in the end. Yeah, then the next it's gonna be in TH to end this, and yeah, Grady once again just did what he often does, race in the top 10. There's not really much to say about Grady. Then Anti, certainly amazing start to the season with the win already. I don't think it was with pace. I think it was mostly with bringing everything together. I think good timing with overtaking recoveries. He had an amazing start actually. I remember he managed to put himself up there in the top 10 already at the start. Then he got screwed up a bit by rain, I believe. But then he also a big crash as well at some point, but he managed to recover pretty well, and he managed to just sort of climb up. And it was a very well executed race. That's what I wanted to say. Like the way he also managed to recover, just like my freeze. But this time it wasn't really pace because he was mostly just slipstreaming. That's the thing. He was just staying behind people, and he stood behind the right people. Also did some great strategy decisions. I think taking the hearts in the middle of the race was a good decision. Not in the end, but he ended. He pitted. At some point, he managed to save one pit stop, and then be with. Gobo and Kraft sort of catching that buzz in the middle, and he managed to then get to Indiana. So I think it was a very well executed race from Antti. Let's see if he can do more of that, though. I think it should be the main question, but certainly a good start to see. And so yeah, I think he did much more than what his own pace could have done, to be honest. But yeah, surprising win, good start to the season for them. So yeah, now NTH leaders. Let's see what they can do till the end of the season. There's certainly going to be a lot of drivers that are going to set them as a huge target to beat now. And so yeah, this was it. I guess as a conclusion, there are certainly a lot of drivers where I can still think I can fight for that title. I think the top three, the entire top three, then Matter can join it. Potentially Kubo is going to be interesting as well to see more of Kubo and Kraft up there. Chargeti might have his moments, and I think there's a lot of positions right here at the front. There's going to be a lot of switch ups. Looking at the next race, for example, Corvid looks to be very strong, and the FGR might certainly be looking at on a rise, I think. And there's still a lot of questions, but we did got some of them answered. Some who were clearly maybe not living up to the hype, others who have a good start, and let's see if they can sort of continue that way. But yeah, I think one thing that is very clear is I think Marin Frias is the strongest driver on the grid right now, with other drivers like Hernandi being generally fast. Still curious to see if Danny Mater can find his old self, the one who win the title in season 10. And so yeah, it's looking to be like a very like spicy season, and I'm looking forward to see how this season is going to go. So yeah, all right, guys, this was it. This was my verdict on the round number 1 of Ultimate League season 13. I hope you guys like it, and see you next time.